So hello folks, and welcome to LMTV Live from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, where dignitaries and government officials, including the Director General of the Liberia Broadcasting System, Honorable Eugene Lame Fagon, have arrived here. So we are going to have a brief interview. So, Minister Fagon, what was the treatment for
I think this is a nice achievement. This is historic in nature. If you've ever been lectured on with respect to the Committee of Nations, you will understand that holding a non-permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council gives you the recognition by other states out of over 190 that indeed you may be little, but you play a crucial role in world politics. So it is significant for us, not only internationally or globally, but domestically it is something.
Do you think this is a collective effort for what
I think it's more than collective. Now, while we may not have had everybody on board, it's collective, and everyone will join in the celebration.
We have to hold that because the convoy is coming, so we will have to hold the Director General of the Liberia Broadcasting System, Honorable Eugene Lame Fagon, who was in a brief interview with a member of the press. But as we await the arrival of the President of the Republic of Liberia, who is also going to form part of this occasion, he will grace this ceremony very briefly. There are indications signaling that the President will shortly arrive, and we are going to bring you the arrival ceremony. But yes, so at the moment you have students from both the high school and universities across the country who are also here and forming part of this occasion. So earlier on we saw, yes, like we told you folks, there is, here comes the convoy of the President, His Excellency President Dusa Yumabwaika, and we are live from the grounds of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, where today, June 3, 2025, Liberia is vying and is vying for the non-permanent seat on the UN Security Council. So there you have the official bouquet of His Excellency President Dusa Yumabwaika, who has arrived here at the grounds of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here in Monrovia. Ceremony of His Excellency President Yusuf Mabuaika. He's already in the hall. So let's not make our way.
Over to the genocidal government. From that moment, London began the long, hard road to recovery, healing, and reconciliation. It's not only ensuring that justice was delivered, but that also is of the jails. Reconciliation. We ask for the non-self survivors to by putting aside their desire for retribution in favor of forgiveness and reconciliation. And we ask all parties to effectively provisions for impacts and embrace the future of Liberia and Ghana, where we are all welcome. London is still a work in progress. And it's up to the next generation to learn the true story of our past, to protect the histories and deny our myths, and keep the memory and the essence of our history alive.
En fait, le négationnisme est en pleine expansion sur les réseaux sociaux, sur Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Le discours n'a pas changé. Certaines personnes ont par exemple prétendu que le justice n'a pas été bien fait, mais que les gens sont mis en colère et ont commencé à tuer. Donc ils ne sont plus à protéger la vérité, à protéger l'histoire de ces personnes aussi sur ces plateformes.
To our friends around the world, we thank you to continue expanding us and ask you to share on this story and what we've learned about division and reconciliation at a time when the world seems increasingly more fractured.
Iceland, once a land defined by its towering glaciers, is now home to the world's first glacier graveyard, a symbol of the accelerating climate crisis. This graveyard stands as a reminder of what's at stake. 15 icy tombstones mark the extinction of glaciers worldwide, but this is just the beginning. Without swift action, many more will follow. A stark memorial where each tombstone represents a glacier that has vanished due to rising temperatures. It's a symbol of what we've lost and a warning for what's still to come. This site is a call to action.
So we say welcome to this live coverage from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here in Monrovia, where today, June 3, 2025, will mark in history a very significant day as Liberia bid for the non-permanency of the United Nations Security Council. Election takes place today at about 2 o'clock Liberia time, and a whole lot of dignitaries are in the hall, and we just saw a few minutes ago the arrival of the President, His Excellency Joseph Mapwaka. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. It is time to start. The earlier you sit down, the better for all of us. For all of us. The 73rd plenary meeting of the General Assembly is called to order. The Assembly will proceed to the election of 5 non-permanent members of the Security Council. The Assembly will elect the members to the election of 5 non-permanent members of the Security Council 2025 to replace the members of term of office of agenda expires on December 2025 under sub-item A of the 5 outgoing non-permanent members are 14. Algeria, Guyana, the 5 outgoing non-permanent members are Sierra Leone, Algeria, and Libya. These 5 states are not eligible to be re-elected today. Their names, therefore, should not appear on the ballot papers. Apart from 5 permanent members, the Security Council will include the following states Denmark, Greece, Pakistan, Panama, and Somalia. The names of these states, therefore, should also not appear on the ballot papers. Of the 5 non-permanent members which will remain in office in 2026, 1 is from the African states, 1 is from the Asia Pacific states, 1 is from the Latin American and Caribbean states, and 2 are from the Western European and other states. Pursuant to paragraph 3 of Resolution 1991A of the 18th session of 17 December 1963, the 5 non-permanent members should be elected according to the following pattern: 3 from the African and Asian Pacific states, 1 from the Eastern European states, and 1 from the Latin American and Caribbean states. The ballot papers reflect this pattern. In accordance with the established practice, there is an understanding to the effect that of the 3 states to be elected from among the African and Asia Pacific states, 2 should be from an African state and 1 an Asian Pacific state. I should like to inform the Assembly that those candidates not exceeding the number of seats to be filled from each region, receiving the greatest number of votes, and a 2/3 majority of those present and voting will be declared elected. If the number of candidates obtaining a 2/3 majority is less than the number of members to be elected, there shall be additional ballots to fill the remaining places, the voting being restricted to the candidates obtaining the greatest number of votes in the previous ballot to a number not more than twice the places remaining to be filled. Also, consistent with past practice, if due to a tie vote, it becomes necessary to determine a candidate or candidates to be elected, or that will proceed to the next round of restricted balloting, there will be a special restricted ballot limited to those candidates that have obtained an equal number of votes. May I take it that the General Assembly agrees to these procedures? It is so decided. Regarding the candidatures, I have been informed of the following. For the 3 vacancies from among the African and Asia Pacific states, 3 endorsed candidates have been communicated, namely Bahrain, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Liberia. For the 1 vacancy from among the Eastern European states, 1 candidate has been communicated, namely Liberia. For the 1 vacancy from among the Latin American and Caribbean states, 1 candidate has been communicated, namely Colombia. In accordance with Rule 92 of the Rules of Procedure, we shall proceed now to the election by secret ballot. Before we begin the voting process, I should like to remind members that pursuant to Rule 88 of the Rules of Procedure of the Assembly, no representative shall interrupt the voting except on a point of order on the actual conduct of the voting. Any announcements, including those concerning withdrawals of candidatures should therefore be made prior to the commencement of the voting process. That is to say, before the announcement of the beginning of the voting process. In addition, ballot papers will only be given to the delegate seated directly behind the country's nameplate. We shall now begin the voting process. Members are requested to remain seated until all ballots have been collected. Ballot papers marked A, B, and C will now be distributed. The voting has thus begun. In accordance with Resolution 71/323 of 8 September 2017, the names of the states that have been communicated to the Secretariat, at least 48 hours prior to the election today, have been printed on the ballot papers for each of the regional groups. Also, additional blank lines corresponding to the number of vacancies to be filled for each of the regional groups have been provided on the ballot papers for inscribing other names if desirable. I request representatives to use only these ballot papers that have been distributed and to put an X in the boxes next to the names of the member states from the relevant region whom they wish to vote for, and or write other eligible names on the blank lines. If the box next to the name printed on the ballot paper is checked, the name of that state does not need to be repeated on the blank line. The total number of checked boxes and or handwritten names should not exceed the number of vacancies to be filled as indicated on the ballot paper. The ballot paper will be declared invalid if it contains more names of member states from the relevant region than the number of seats allocated to it. Accordingly, for the ballot papers marked A for the African and Asia Pacific states, the total number of check boxes and handwritten names should not exceed 3. For ballot papers for the Eastern European states, the total number of check boxes and handwritten names should not exceed 1. And for the ballot papers marked C for the Latin American and Caribbean states, the total number of check boxes and handwritten names should not exceed 1. The ballot paper will be declared invalid if none of the names of the member states on that ballot for which votes were cast belong to the relevant region. If a ballot paper for a region contains one of the following, the ballot remains invalid, but the vote for these member states will not be counted. Member states: 1. Member states that do not belong to the region concerned. Or 2. Member states that continue to be members of the Council during this year and the next year. If a ballot paper contains any notation other than votes in favor of eligible candidates, these notations will be disregarded. I invite the representatives of the foreign states to serve as tellers, to accompany the conference officers as they collect the ballot papers. Germany, Palau, St. Kitts and Nevis, Slovenia, United Arab Emirates, and Zambia. Please proceed to collect the ballot papers.
So voting per region has taken place, and the ballot papers are being collected. So why the commissioner was laying down the rules governing the election process, participants of this all important elections were already voting, as the commissioner was in speech. So at the moment, it's all about collecting of ballot papers. And currently in Liberia, here we have schools of dignitaries from the three branches of government. I see Senator Zoe Emmanuel Pena of Grand Juliet County is also here. Bon County Senators Prince Gamumwe and Senator Johnny Bay are here in attendance. Senator Senator Bocha Sigwe, Senator Taba Vapila of Rankima County, Senator Wellington Jeevan Smith is also here. But let's go back to where the action is taking place. This is a live happening of the election which Liberia is vying for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. Liberia is hopeful of winning this critical seat, which is very significant. The Director of Police of the Republic of Liberia, Colonel Gregory Kuma, is also here. The Minister of Justice, Councillor Osford Toye, is here. The Minister of State with our portfolio, Mamaka Ability, is also here. And I see the political advisor to the President, Madam Nadela Cooper. The Minister of Education, Madam Jasu Jala, is also here. And I see Public Works Minister Roland Gillings is also here. Managing Director of the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation. Mohammed Ali. And here comes the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Richard Nangwepu. celebrating.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I request delegations who may have not voted to do so now by approaching the front of the hall to cast their votes. The voting is now closed. No more ballot papers will be accepted. In the interest of time, the Assembly will now proceed to consider the other item announced in the United Nations General while the ballots are being counted. The Assembly has thus concluded this stage of its consideration of sub-item A of Agenda Item 114. The Assembly will resume its consideration of Agenda Item 13 entitled, and I quote, Integrated and Coordinated Implementation of and Follow-up to the Outcomes of the Major United Nations Conferences and Summits in the Economic, Social and Related Fields, end of quote, to take action on a draft resolution contained in document A/79/L89. I give the to the distinguished representative of Mongolia to introduce draft resolution A/79/L89.
Mr. President, distinguished delegates, I have the honor to introduce the draft resolution entitled World Horse Day initiated by Mongolia. At the SDGs Summit in 2023, the world leaders committed to taking bold, ambitious, accelerated, just and transformative actions to accelerate the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. These actions would be anchored in international solidarity and effective cooperation at all levels. In line with these goals, Mongolia is putting forward this initiative to support the cross-cutting objectives of sustainable agriculture, pastoralism, biodiversity conservation, tourism, and related issues. As of today, there are more than 57 million domesticated horses around the world. We all know that the horse is one of the most important animals in human history, as it had served as the main means of transportation for centuries and was dominantly used in agriculture, farming, mining, and almost on all other areas. Even in today's world, horses play an indispensable role in our daily lives, particularly in rural areas, and in equine industry has been and is still solid contributor to the agricultural development and economic progress of many countries through horse riding, horse racing, equestrian sports, tourism, recreational activities, transportation, as well as employment generation, agricultural production, and other businesses. However, in recent decades, the number of horses, horse trades, and horse industry, including traditional usage and mobilization of horses, are declining to a certain extent due to changes in people's lifestyle, technological advancement, economic fluctuations, climate and environmental changes, and other factors. In recognition of the past and present, this resolution A/79L/89 aims at raising awareness to the importance of the horses, encouraging concrete actions to support equine industry, sustainable livestock management, promoting global efforts and activities for equine welfare, as well as contributing to the conservation of the horse cultural heritage and pastoral nomadic lifestyles. Distinguished delegates, in most countries of the world, including my own country, Mongolia, horses have played, are still playing an important role in our history, culture, daily lives, and is cherished as one of the most respected animal species. Historically, Mongolian pastoral nomads have relied on their livestock animals for living and moved several times throughout the year looking for good pastures with abundant water and grass to accommodate their herds. In our way of living, horses certainly have been and are still serving as the main mode of transport. Mongolian horses are best known for the role as the war steed of Genghis Khan and his successor due to their strength, excellent long-distance traveling endurance, and easy care. For above reasons, horses have sacred place in Mongolian history, culture, national identity, as they often featured in Mongolian myths and legends, symbolizing strength, endurance, and freedom. With its 4.7 million horses, Mongolia is listed one of the countries with biggest number of horse population in the world. Thus, as a country with rich horse heritage and modern traveling livestock industry, Mongolia, with the generous support of fellow co-sponsoring countries, is proposing World Horse Day be observed every year in the middle of summertime on 11th of July. Distinguished delegates, Mongolia deeply appreciate the active participation and valuable contributions from all delegations during the negotiation on the draft resolution. We would also like to express our heartfelt thanks to the co-sponsors of this resolution and invite those member states that have not yet co-sponsored it consider doing so, acknowledging the significance of the matter. Finally, I would like to express my full confidence in that member states will render their unwavering support during the adoption of the draft resolution L89 World Horse Day. I thank you very much for your attention.
I thank the distinguished representative of Mongolia. We should now proceed to consider draft resolution A/79/L89. For your information, the draft resolution has closed for e-sponsorship. I give the floor to the representative of the Secretariat.
Thank you, Mr. President. I should like to announce that since the submission of the draft resolution, and in addition to the delegations listed on the L document, the following countries have also become co-sponsors of A/79/L89: Belarus, Bhutan, Brazil, Bulgaria, Cambodia, China, Croatia, Germany, Hungary, Japan, Kazakhstan, Kuwait, Lesotho, Morocco, Nepal, Nicaragua, Oman, Pakistan, the Philippines, the Republic of Korea, the Russian Federation, Saudi Arabia, Serbia, Singapore, the Syrian Arab Republic, Tajikistan, Thailand, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, and Vietnam. If any other countries wish to co-sponsor A/79/L89, please signify by pressing the microphone button now. I see Comoros, Armenia, Ghana, Chile, the Islamic Republic of Iran, Myanmar, Mali, Chad, Sao Tome and Principe, India, Vanuatu, Oman, Botswana, Cyprus, Senegal, Kenya, Guinea, and Guinea-Bissau. I also see Eritrea. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the representative of the Secretariat. We shall now proceed to consider draft resolution A/79/L89. Before giving the floor for explanations of vote before the vote, may I remind delegations that explanations of vote are limited to 10 minutes and should be made by delegations from their seats. I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of the United States.
Thank you, Mr. President. The United States thanks Mongolia for its leadership and efforts in facilitating the process on this resolution. The United States also appreciates the efforts by several members to seek a compromise throughout the negotiation, including to remove preambular climate references that distracted from the true matter under consideration. However, the text of this resolution contains positions we cannot support, which compels us to call a vote today. Regrettably, there were no textual accommodations in support of consensus, despite initial flexibility during open negotiations regarding preambular language on the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals. The United States has made clear that the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the Sustainable Development Goals impinge upon the state sovereignty as a soft form of global governance and will no longer reaffirm them as a matter of course in UN resolutions. For these reasons, the United States will call a vote on this resolution. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the distinguished representative of the United States. We have heard the last speaker in explanation of vote before the vote. The Assembly will now take a decision on draft resolution A/79/L89 entitled World Horse Day. A recorded vote has been requested. We shall now begin the voting process. Those in favor of draft resolution A/79/L89, please signify. Those against, abstentions.
The Assembly is now voting on draft resolution A/79/L89 entitled World Horse Day. Will all delegations confirm that their votes have been reflected on the screen? The voting has been completed. Please lock the machine.
The result of the vote is as follows. In favor, 169. Against, 1. Abstentions, 0. Draft resolution A/79/L89 is adopted. Before giving the floor for explanations of vote after the vote, may I remind delegations that explanations of vote are limited to 10 minutes and should be made by delegations from their seats. I now give the floor to the distinguished representative for Mexico.
Muchas gracias, señor Presidente. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mexico is grateful to Mongolia for its efforts to table and facilitate this draft resolution. Mexico recognizes the historic, cultural and socioeconomic significance of the horse, as well as its undeniable links with rural communities, indigenous peoples, and myriad cultural expressions. However, my country believes that whilst it is important to establish these ties and step up measures to guarantee their protection and safeguard the horse, we believe that these actions cannot be conducted without can be conducted without proclaiming an international day, as happens in myriad other cases with other animals, goods, etc., etc. We did vote in favour of the resolution. However, my country's stance is clear when it comes to proposals in terms of proclaiming various days, years, and international decades. There is a worrying proliferation of such proposals. These commemorative celebrations can be relevant, however, the reality is that in recent years, these days have frequently and unnecessarily increased in number and complexity, as we saw with today's vote. That has placed an untenable burden on our system and our shoulders, and we should take action. As far in this session so far, we've proclaimed 7 international days and 1 international year. In the previous session, we adopted 15 international days and 6 international years. 2 sessions ago, we adopted 12 international days and 2 international years. Combined, this constitutes a total of 27 international days and 8 years proclaimed as such in only 2 sessions. This trend is a growing one. We're adopting more and more resolutions to establish new commemorative celebrations. This involves operational, financial and time burdens both for delegations and for the Secretariat. Consequently, in our view, it is important to move forward towards a more effective mechanism which is more streamlined and coherent in nature, one which allows us to group together these commemorative celebrations under broad thematic frameworks. Mr. President, Mexico hopes that the proclamation of such international days will become more efficient, less repetitive and more substantive in nature. We appeal to all to contemplate balance between symbolism and functionality in the work of this General Assembly. Thank you.
I thank the distinguished representative of Mexico. We have heard the last speaker in explanation of vote after the vote. The Assembly has thus concluded this stage of its consideration of Agenda Item 13. The meeting is suspended for 15 minutes while the ballot papers are being counted.
So the meeting has been suspended for 15 minutes while the counting of ballots is ongoing. This is LNTV Live. From the C. Dennis Auditorium at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Monrovia, where today, June 3, 2025, marks the election of members on the United Nations Security Council, and Liberia is vying for a non-permanent seat on the council. But prior to this, voting has already taken place, and it is the counting of ballots that is ongoing
towards a just, inclusive and prosperous future. As the country undergoes important reforms and transitions, I want to assure you that the UN stands ready to assist in fostering peace, national dialogue, trust and development. You can count on the UN to be your steadfast partner, working alongside the government and the people of Bangladesh to help build a sustainable, equitable future for all.
And past leaders. We also have the
origins, the beginnings, the roots sought by people
of the Liberian Senate, Ambassador County Senator Yombly Kanga Lawrence, who is dressed in dominant white.
The trouble is that the client, he's behind me, is titled Caribbean Olympics. The Haitian Revolution is the theme.
On her far
by addressing the work through assuming
far right,
in this case, Haiti
on my far left, from where I stand,
symbolizing liberation
as the Speaker of the 55th National Legislature of the House of Representatives of the Republic of Liberia.
They're not truly know each other because we are our stories. We are stories we hear, we are stories we tell.
In the hall is the former cultural ambassador, Madam Judy Andy.
People of African descent. We also invited them as part of the transatlantic slave trade and slavery outreach program. It speaks to the origins of enslavement, and then it traces emancipation, the struggles that happened,
of the Republic
and then
of Liberia,
it really lands
Madam
in
Katumu
areas
Boyka
asking us to reimagine the world that we want to
seated
live in with much more justice and dignity.
To me,
Beautiful
having this here, the United Nations,
cream
this time is very important
and
because
strap
as a talking
dressed.
drum, I like to drum up the attention that Haiti really deserve and need, especially right now.
All works like this help to show the complexities of what makes us human. This is just an amazing thing to have this experience to walk into this place and see the different sides of what makes us unique and what makes us beautiful, and that's what makes us human. It's extremely important to recognize that Afghanistan is one of the world's most climate impacted countries.
commonly known as Marawala. He's also here. Agricultural Minister Tato Alexander Muta
I was
is also
able to
here.
witness firsthand
Former Senate
the
Putin,
work that has been done
and now
on
Senator of Grand Bassa County.
integrating refugees and returnees coming into the province, looking at the work that has been done in response to the earthquake in this area. Innovative approaches have been undertaken by the United Nations and partners to have local vernacular structures which are earthquake resistant, rebuilding permanent structures in this village behind me.
You see, here also is
I have seen
Minister of Youth and Sports.
the collective efforts of the local authorities, of the partners, NGOs, and the United Nations in trying to rebuild the life together with the communities here. The response has enabled people to rebuild lives in a very challenging environment. And in my visit in
the Managing Director of the National Port Authority
private sector enterprises that are working
is also here.
Afghan men and women into the marketplace,
Mr.
into economic
Sekutukli,
and particularly
and the
women-led micro and small
Director of the
enterprises
National Fire Service,
eye-opening
Mr.
to look at the potential
was for
on one side
Bafo.
and the need for support for these enterprises to scale up through
Grand Cape Mountain County Senator Madam Daba Fabila is also here in attendance.
This is a vital part of rebuilding Afghanistan with its private sector, tapping into the human capital of Afghan men and women, and affording space, particularly for women and girls, to contribute and have the space
with
to
the
be
political affairs or advisor to the president. Deputy Minister
in a world that is experiencing the first impacts of climate change,
Daniel Son,
one of the most
Minister of Information,
significant transformations is
Tourism, is
occurring in
also
the
here.
cryosphere. Glaciers, once emblematic symbols of snow's timeless accumulation, are now disappearing at an unprecedented rate,
of the Ministry
leaving
of
a profound impact on our environment and
but
communities.
she says the position of
As global temperatures continue to rise, these ancient ice formations are receding faster than ever before, and the consequences reach far beyond the cryosphere alone. Glacier retreat contributes significantly to rising sea levels and threatens the delicate balance of
Presidential
our
Press Secretary Kula
ecosystems.
Fofana is here.
The rapid loss of
Deputy
glacier
Presidential
mass
Press Secretary
disrupts global water resources, leaving entire communities facing water scarcity as they rely on glaciers for their freshwater needs, and living downstream communities facing an escalating risk of glacial lake outburst floods.
one of the commissioners
Collaborative efforts are crucial to understanding and addressing the
Telecommunication
complexities of
Authority
cryosphere's changes. and to protect glaciers and their ecosystem functions. UNESCO World Heritage Sites are already witnessing this accelerating with glaciers in a third of the sites set to
Liberia Aviation Authority.
In December 2022, the UN General Assembly declared 2025 as the International Year of Glaciers Preservation and correspondent to the 21st of March of each year as the World Day for Glaciers.
And now serve as the Board of Directors of
This
the
International Year marks
Book of Washington Institute.
aimed at raising awareness of the critical role of glaciers, snow and ice. It will highlight the economic, social and environmental impacts of the impending changes in the cryosphere for our climate,
Emmanuel Sango
and
of
our
the
communities.
National Oil Company of Liberia, NOCA, is also here.
UNESCO and WMO are invited
Just
to
arriving in the hall is
International Year, which aims to advocate for more
the Assistant Minister for
convene countries and
Press and Public Affairs by the Minister of
and
National
mobilize the
Defense,
international community to share knowledge and
Oscar
best
Moba.
practices for preservation and adaptation. The International Year therefore provides a unique opportunity
Ambassador
to
Alash on Tourism, Christopher
and encourage
Hens
collaborative efforts to
Onanuka
safeguard
is also
the
here.
balance of the cryosphere.
Former Foreign Minister, Madam Olibanki Ki Akireli, is also here. And I see Bon County lawmaker, Honorable Nema Briggs Mesa, who just entered into the hall. So the acting managing director of the National Fishery and Aquaculture Authority, Mr. Cyrus Sigby. The hall is the Gem Hall. And at the moment, we are observing a 15-minute break. Currently, the counting and sorting of ballots people is taking place.
This cycle is really hitting part of the country where the population density is very high, and Nampula has the highest number of children in the province. We really was surprising. This cycle is really hitting part of the country where the population density is very high, and Nampula has the highest number of children in the province. We really was surprising positions that are ready to hospitals dies down and we're able to get out to this.
See, the councillor Morai Yakula is also here. So wherever you're watching from, this is a live happening of the election of members to the United Nations Security Council. And Liberia is one of the candidates vying for the non-permanent seat. Also here in the hall is the Director General of the Liberia Broadcasting System, Eugene Earlier on, I saw the Deputy Director General for Radio Broadcast, James Nangwe, and I also saw the Deputy Director General for Public Affairs, Honorable Alexandra Amno, and I saw the Deputy Director General for New Media and Rebranding at the Liberia Broadcasting System, Honorable D-Flow Flomo. So it's a tag team of technicians. It's headed by Joseph Johnson. Armstrong Cooper is here live on radio. Princess Tully is from the radio department. Our chauffeur, Jerry Stewart, is also here, and also
si on peut travailler ces femmes dans cette forêt, elles prennent également soin de ces forêts. Non seulement ça permet de fertiliser les sols, mais ça permet également de les autonomiser économiquement.
So as we observe 15 minutes of a break to usher in the final results from the elections members of the Liberian Senate, members of the House of Representatives.
Vous l'avez appris, c'est également l'apparition de nouveaux paradigmes. Et ça, on le vit ici au quotidien et un peu partout au Sénégal. Ça participe également à la dégradation des sols. Justement, c'est la raison pour laquelle nous, on essaie de trouver comme solution prioritaire aujourd'hui notre reboisement massif dans les périphéries avec des répulseurs aussi.
Notre projet d'avenir, s'il est engagé, on veut faire un projet de pépinière dans les arbres pour alléger les travaux.
La femme est à l'image de la terre. Ce sont des vrais écologistes qui sont là, qui sont engagés pour la protection et la préservation de l'environnement.
La forêt, c'est nous et nous, c'est là.
المبادئ كبيرة أنا كان من أول الناس اللي جاي على مصر يعني عمل مستشفى الشفاء ما قبل الحرب.
كانت هنا كلها هذه محلات بيبيعوا خضرة وفواكه كله راح ما ضل يعني أنا بصدمة يمكن أنا أقدر أحكي إنه البلد هذا تطرق زلزال ما خلى حاجة تجربة. نرجع نشتغل على شغلنا اللي هي طبيب برجع أشتغل مستشفى الشفاء، أرجع كدكتور، لكن ما عارف الأوضاع الآن كيف الأوضاع في المستشفى، لأنه أنا تقريبا من قبل الحرب ما قبل 7 أكتوبر ما شفت يعني. رايحين على الشفاء هذا البلد. طبعا هذا منظر محزن. طبعا أنا جيت على المستشفى هذا لما هاجرت كنت يعني عمري ما يقارب 25 سنة. مبنى 8 هذا كان مبنى جراحات، في الجراحة العامة وجراحة العظام.
خبرة جيدة أنا مش مستقبل الأمور لا تصدق. من المباني هذه المستشفى وأطباء زملاء معي. هذا مستشفى الشفاء تمثل اللي أنا ولادي ولدوا في المستشفى هذا، يعني ولادي عندي أول ولد عندي ولد في المستشفى هذا. إحنا اللي صار فينا حرام يعني إحنا يعني إيش ذنبنا إحنا؟ ما هو الذنب إذا إحنا أنا بحكي كشريك فقط أو شريكة أطفال أو شريكة ناس تدرس في الجامعة، ما هو ذنبنا؟ مستشفى الشفاء تساوي حياة غزة. الشفاء يعني حياة الفلسطينيين والفلسطينيين. هذا ما تمثل لي، وهذا هناك صراحة ما تكون في مستشفى الشفاء.
Với bạn quá nặng là cày đá nó qua cái tiền này tiền đá là lúc lên cày đá là tiền thì là nó thành tiền này lúc kia thì cày đá nó có lại
We have had a few cases where peacekeepers have committed paternity, and so the process can start from recognition of the child and to provide maintenance and support for that child and to the mother. Member states, many of them, have national legislative frameworks that make it difficult for them to take on the responsibility of paternity, because many of them view the situation of paternity as a private obligation. From the UN side, we view that differently. Because the member state has provided personnel to peacekeeping operations, we think the member state also has responsibility, and it is their responsibility to have the peacekeeper acknowledge this authority.
So the meeting has taken a 15-minute break, after which they will resume to announce results.
Je plaide ici auprès des États membres pour une mesure tempo, parce que ça prend beaucoup de temps, tout les enjeux légaux pour adresser une requête de paternité.
Given the focus and attention over the years to this particular aspect of our work on improving cognitive discipline, but we now have a focus on this because these are children. And I think that it's our roles as United Nations to acknowledge our responsibility to work with United States and that this is part of this.
أختي الصغيرة تعاني من الأمراض الجلدية، يعني أمراض جلدية مش طبيعية، بسبب إن هي بتلوث منها كتير، بنجيب من الأمراض كتير بتلوث السنين والأمراض،
La première veste ou la EBS? La EBS? Liberia. For you in Security Council, non-permanent seats. Yeah.
The first time, I woke up immediately with the thought of the pastor. It was a day of fear. It was the day of astonishment.
My task was just to plan and allocate immediate resources to those frontliners who were saving their families from the war, who were serving children with disabilities, who were serving those who most affected.
When we went together with a local NGO, we opened this safe space to support women psychologically and support them in terms of how to survive in this
Mobilize more resources. We need to get out the idea of child-friendly spaces which should be available along the way of people who are mobility.
We live in a fair future for our country, for our children.
There is this saying that the thing that doesn't kill us makes us stronger. And maybe it's true, but I also always say that I wish I didn't have that experience that I have now.
You and us encourage a lot to support those families, and most importantly, this is still going on, and there's still a lot of humanitarian cover necessary to support people and to renew the country.
Every day, the strikes continue almost every day. This every day there are reports of people being killed and injured. This war is bad. a
lot of people
provide the support.
have encountered something.
Also continues during the recovery the massive heat and the outbreaks that we have.
Right after the 15 minutes break, the meeting will resume. This is live broadcast election. Expected to see Liberia being represented on the United Nations Security Council as a not permanent member, of course.
Automatiquement, il va capter ça, même s'il voit son père qui dit sa maman en train de faire cela, eux-mêmes, donc, il va prendre la responsabilité de sa maman avec ça. Ce qui a changé, nous avons constaté vraiment toutes les grandes étapes commencent à utiliser des sacs en papier. Donc il y a certaines journées, qui étaient là au début, il est en train de disparaître définitivement dans la circulation.
That the kilometers away from the place of reaching a humanitarian distribution center according to the mechanism in place, not the local mechanism. And they were done now since through snipers and other methods to modify them so that they do not even reach this mechanism that they put in place. So the mechanism we are is the solid one, is the one that is supported almost like the why do you try to find a mechanism in the system mechanism as a solid one, tested one, that proved itself? They have the experience, they have the personnel, they know how to reach the people in all areas that are devastated by humanitarian assistance. So we will know in the Security Council according exactly what the detail will proceed to do with the humanitarian draft resolution. And now the Security Council has the record, and the threat or the fear of not succeeding should not deter the Security Council from carrying its responsibility. But of course, the Security Council has said we are in contact with all those who are genuinely concerned and outraged. It was not only the Palestinian people who are outraged, as I expressed in my last statement in the Security Council, but I can objectively say the great majority of humanity and nation states are outraged with what is really going on in Gaza, and they want to do something. So that's why we see some elevation and changes of positions from big important countries in Europe and beyond, such as France, UK, and Canada. Their statement 10 days ago was very clear, very powerful, and very different than previous positions that they have articulated in this issue. That is significant. That is the beginning of turning the corner, and we hope to see more of that. And it is not Israel that will decide the future of the people in the Middle East, especially the Palestinian people. It is us, we, the people, will determine our own future with the support and the help of the great majority of nations. So we will see what happens in the days. In the General Assembly, we are grateful for Spain's initiative to go to the General Assembly with a humanitarian resolution. That position was adopted at the highest level of the Spain. We appreciate that, and we are grateful for it.
Your seats.
So welcome back after
the result,
that break.
The Assembly will resume its consideration of sub-item A of agenda item 114. The Assembly will resume its consideration of election item A of agenda item 114 entitled Election of Non-Permanent Members of the Security Council. The result of the voting is as follows. Group A, African and Asia Pacific States, 3 seats. Results of the vote. Number of ballot papers, 188. Number of invalid ballots, 0. Number of valid ballots, 188. Abstentions, 1. Number of members present and voting, 187. Required 2/3 majority, 125. By red, 186. Democratic Republic of Congo, 183. Liberia, 181.
Liberia has been elected to the United Nations Security Council as a non-permanent member. Now you can go ahead and celebrate your country. Liberia is once again on the map. able to secure 181. President Joseph Mwanga has just arrived in the world. historical movement for Liberians. Yes, Liberia has once again taken the most step in the world, making up the United Nations. Security Council as a non-permanent member, obtaining a vote of 181 of the total vote of 188, and the President of the Republic of Liberia and the Vice President, Joseph Mwanga and Jeremiah have arrived and are seated. The First Lady has taken her seat, Madam Katumu Bwaka, the Speaker of the House of Representatives of the 55th National Legislature of the Republic of Liberia, Honorable Richard Nangwekun is here, and the Senate Pro Tem of the Liberian Senate.
This is a moment of great excitement.
Lauren is also here.
We are honored, we are elated, and I can say we are ecstatic about the victory today. This is a national victory. A victory delivered by His Excellency President Joseph Mwanga. And so today is not a time for window and grandiloquent speeches, but it's a moment of celebration. So in this light, I'd like to welcome you all to this celebration of Liberia's victory and election to the United Nations Security Council for the period 2026-2027. The most important and substantive speeches here will be delivered by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Liberia. You are therefore welcome. So we are now invite to the podium Your Excellency, the Chief Tactician, Commanding General of this effort, the Chief Campaigner, Senior President Nanti, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Liberia.
His Excellency President Joseph Yuma Boyka, President of the Republic of Liberia, Africa's oldest republic and Africa's newest member of the UN Security Council. The Honorable Jeremiah Brown, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, Africa's oldest republic and Africa's newest member to the UN Security Council. The Honorable Speaker, Richard Kuhn, our Pro Tem, Senator Yombi Kanga Lawrence, our First Lady, the committees on foreign affairs and foreign relations in the Senate and in the House, and the chairs on security as well, the doyen of the diplomatic corps, the esteemed members of cabinet, the esteemed members of this administration, former administration, the fourth estate Liberians far and wide. Today, history has smiled on Liberia. Today, there's a big smile across the face of our Creator, who has blessed Liberia on this day. We stand before the world humbled, proud, and immensely grateful for Liberia to be elected as a non-permanent member on the UN Security Council for the years 2026 and 2027. This moment is not just a diplomatic milestone. It's a reaffirmation of Liberia's transformation from war to peace and from recovery to leadership on the global stage. Now, the journey to the UN Security Council. It's important for us to look at history. Somebody recently said, if we don't look at history, we'll never learn and will not understand the present and will miss the future. In 1960, Liberia vied for a seat on the UN Security Council, the only other time we campaigned. At that time, there were 99 members of the UN, and we needed 66 votes. It went on for 6 weeks, 11 rounds. We could not get the 2/3 majority. Liberia did not obtain the 2/3 majority. And after those 13 rounds, there was a negotiation where Liberia and Ireland finally split a term. We served 1 year in 1961 and Ireland in 1962. we have never campaigned and won a seat on the UN Security Council except for today. Except for today. Except for today. So why did we have to campaign? We learned from history. We didn't take it for granted. We understood that with 193 member states, we needed at least 129 votes. Even if all of Africa voted for us, it would not be enough. And then we realized the present, the current geopolitics, the uniqueness of who Liberia is. Let's not forget who we are, our identity, and all that comes with it, the complications of that. Juxtapose that to us having to try it one time before and we didn't make it. We had to put everything into it to make sure we went one round and only one round. So although nobody competed for this seat, at the end of the day, it's not about whether somebody else will make C or D. It's about whether you will make A or B. We needed to make sure on one round we'll get an overwhelming mandate from the world to say, now is Liberia's turn. And so this is our first time. Never before have we run a campaign and won a seat. First time. There are 4 countries of Africa that signed the UN Charter. Liberia, South Africa, Ethiopia, and Egypt. Egypt has gone to the Security Council 6 times. Ethiopia and South Africa 3 times each. Liberia will only share 1 year with somebody based on negotiation. But today, President Joseph Newman Boyka today, President Joseph Newman Boyka today, and today, we promise you, President Joseph Boyka, because you believed in this, because we came into leadership and we met that there was an idea, the former administration had an idea and they put it forth, they wanted us to do this. They didn't have the chance to implement it and we said that this would not die. You know, between administrations, plenty things that die. We said this one would not die. We picked it up, we dusted it up, we took our efforts, we placed ourselves in gear, we said with or without, with whom and without, we will go. We went to the AU because you told us to go there to represent you, Mr. President Boyka. We went there. In February 2024, we got the endorsement of the AU. In July 2024, we got the endorsement of ECOWAS after negotiations because Guinea-Bissau wanted to compete with us and Nigeria wanted to go after, and Nigeria said no. We can't compete with each other in ECOWAS. Let Liberia go. Let's support Liberia to go. Guinea-Bissau, you go after. And we will go after that. Thank you, Nigeria, for playing that big brother role. And it was with that we now have to campaign. Let me tell you something, an endorsement multilaterally is not a vote bilaterally. The endorsement say, we now how much you will be going fund. But then it is based on your relationship with each country. Whether or not they believe you can represent them, and whether or not they believe that you are rightly placed to have that conversation on their behalf at the UN Security Council. That is when you get that vote, and we have to campaign. We campaign and we listen. We heard the president, we heard everything they said to us. They wanted to know that would they trust us with this seat? Would we vote in the African line? Would we align with the African position? And then, Mr. President, on May 28th, the Arab group put us into a closed door. They wanted to hear certain things from us. Will Liberia stand for these principles? Will Liberia stand for those principles? And I'm proud to say to you, Mr. President, because you believe in Ministry of Foreign Affairs team, the entire team from the driver all the way up to the minister, because we believe in the Foreign Affairs team, we felt brave enough to contact former foreign ministers. We contacted former foreign ministers. We asked them to help us to campaign. Our Policy Advisory Council, with the legislature, the both committees, we worked with plenty people. And Mr. President, as we promised you today, they promised to meet you, Mr. President, because you believed in this and you trusted us. We are here to say we gave it to you. We brought it home to Liberia. Now with the 129 we're looking for, or the 181 that we received, 181 votes. Mr. President, this stage are your stage because you did this. You believed in it, you pushed it, you always check with me to ask me how far things going, how far things going. We have to get this seat. And Mr. President, you gave us the motivation You believed in it, and you believe in Liberia, and you believe Liberia would serve its cause on the Security Council. A nation that has birthed so many democracy, a nation that has been there for so many countries. It is late, actually. We should have had this a long time ago. But situations and conditions, such is the time now, Mr. President, and we're proud to say to you as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. President, we are grateful to serve under your leadership. We know that as we go to the Security Council, we go in there with your vision for peace and security. You have shared your vision for small countries. You say you don't like people taking advantage of small countries. You have shared your vision for peace and for global justice, and we campaign in that regard. We shared your message, and so we told the world we'll be there for women, peace and security, because Liberian women fought for peace. Liberian women understand peace. Liberian women know how to bring peace to their children and to their husbands. And so we say women, peace and security. Liberia has heavy youth population. We say the youth will be a priority. Youth, peace and security. We said we'll fight for UN Security Council reform. Africa deserves a permanent seat on the UN Security Council, and Liberia will be a voice for Africa for a permanent seat and to reform peacekeeping. And we said, Mr. President, we will be the ones to talk about climate, our natural resources, and conflict. Our resources should be a source for war. Our resources should be the reason why our children have their beds on their head, toting it from place to place. It will not happen in Liberia again, and it should not happen in Africa anymore. And lastly, but not the least, Minor River Union, Mr. President, we still will talk about regional security. When your neighbor is not safe, you are not safe. We can't be talking country by country. We need to talk about the MRU as a block. Those are the issues we campaign on, Mr. President, with your vision. And Mr. President, today I'm happy to say to you, Mr. President Joseph Yoman Boyka, President of the Republic of Liberia, Africa's oldest republic that been 178 years, and the world's newest member of the UN Security Council. Mr. President, we are proud, we are proud, we are proud, we are proud. We will serve, we will serve, we will serve, and we will serve. Thank you to Madam Salif. Thank you to Lema Boy. Thank you to all of those who came and put their hand to the plow. Thank you, thank you, thank you to those former foreign ministers who went through the field to campaign. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If I start to name one by one, Mr. President, I will fear, I will fall short, because plenty of people help us. This victory is Liberia's victory. This victory is Liberia's victory. Liberia will go out and show the world that the 178 years enough for nothing. Plenty thing is that. God bless you.
Foreign Minister Sarah Besloyanti. This is the National Television Service of the Liberia Broadcasting System. My name is Aisiniba. We are here at Cecil Lewis Auditorium, where we are bringing you
music.
Celebration of the UN Security Council. Liberia was elected with a vote of 181 out of 188.
I must say this from the beginning to the end. When they launch and all the way in between. Thank you. Speaker Richard, as recent as last week, you're in Sierra Leone speaking to the legislature. You're in Morocco speaking to the legislature. They campaign you you no bound. If I don't say it, God now bless me. Thank you, everybody.
Madam President, Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam President pro tempore, the dean and members of the cabinet, the daughter and members of the diplomatic corps, members of the legislature, our development partners, our traditional leaders, officials of government here present, Liberians, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. At this time, we have a special statement from His Excellency Joseph Yumamboga Sr., President of the Republic of Liberia, as we call in the acceptance speech.
Good afternoon. Whether you had breakfast this morning, whether you slept found last night, I'm sure all of that is behind you. The victory is yours. Thank you for your support. Thank you for standing with us. Thank our partners. Thank all of you. This is the time to unite. This is a victory for Liberians. Thank you so much for your support. Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, fellow Liberians, friends of Liberia. Today, we stand at the threshold of a new chapter in our nation's history. The United Nations Security Council has honored us with a non-permanent seat for 2026-2027. Recognizing our resilience, commitment to peace, and dedication to global cooperation. We extend our deepest gratitude to all UN member states for their confidence. This is a moment of honor and humility for our 178-year-old republic, Africa's first independent nation, whose long storied journey continues to inspire. Our election is not just a national achievement. It symbolizes Africa's perseverance and is a tribute to generations of Liberians who have held firm to freedom, self-governance, and global solidarity. From our role in the League of Nations and as a founder member of the United Nations to our contribution to African independence, Liberia has always punched above its weight on the global stage. We honor the memory of Ambassador Andy Brooks-Randall, Africa's first female president of the United Nations General Assembly, whose call for substance over symbolism still echoes. And we recall the foresight of President William R. Talbot Jr., who won the global peace was impossible without African freedom and justice. Liberia has walked a difficult road from conflict to recovery, but it has never been alone. We remain grateful to the United Nations, ECOWAS, and African Union for their role in our peace process. We especially pay tribute to the 202 United Nations peacekeepers who died in the cause of Liberia. From the ruins of war, Liberia had risen as a democracy, holding successful and peaceful elections and achieving historic power transfer. Today's election affirms Liberia is again a credible and relevant voice in the world stage. Unlike our first partial term in 1961, today's election is a testament to our nation's journey toward peace and reconciliation. We have overcome conflict and our pledge to contribute meaningfully to global peace building and conflict resolution. It validates Liberia's commitment to international peace and our readiness to contribute meaningfully at the highest level. We take on this responsibility during the global uncertainty marked by persistent conflict, climate-related insecurity, terrorism, and development disparities. Liberia will be a principled and dependable voice on the Council. We will advocate for Africa, the developing world, and inclusive, lasting peace. Drawing from our own experience of reconciliation as nation building, we will promote conflict prevention, support peacekeeping reform, and champion the protection of civilians, especially women and children. Liberia will also continue its growing role as a true contributing country to the United Nations missions. We say to all of our African brothers and sisters, we pledge to be your voice. To the Global South, we offer solidarity. To all UN members, we promise contributing engagement, building diplomacy, rooted in Liberia's humility, honesty, and freedom of values. We stand on the shoulders of giants including President Joseph Jenkins Roberts, Edwin Barclay, William F. Stutman, William R. Talbot, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who flew the flag of Liberia high on the international stage. All are icons of this democracy we enjoy today, as well as countless enduring heroes who kept our nation's spirit alive through adversity. This moment is the fruit of their labor and prayers. To all Liberians at home and abroad, this victory is yours. Let us rally together to make this tenure a success. When Liberia sits at the council, it will be your hopes that she will cherish. I thank the Foreign Minister, and I'm saying this with all sincerity. This lady had put in time, commitment, dedication, and we all, with all of our contribution, she gave us a standing ovation for. Shows you what women can achieve and they are committed. We're proud. Excellency, Madam Sarah Destroyanti, Liberia's permanent mission to the United Nations campaign team in New York, Monrovia, Addis Ababa, and all those in the government who made this achievement possible. We say thank you. We have worked hard, working a new chapter in our nation's global engagement. As promised in our campaign, Liberia's voice of council will reflect our people. We will consult women, youth, nationwide to ensure our representation is inclusive and grounded. This new chapter in our global engagement presents opportunities for growth, collaboration, and progress. I call upon all Liberians to embrace this moment, work together to build a brighter future for our nation and the world. May God bless the Republic of Liberia, ECOWAS, African Union, and the United Nations. Thank you. God bless you. Come back, open, but don't forget your checkbook.
Followed by the First Lady. Hey. It's dancing time. Hey, bien, please play. Let's celebrate. Food and drinks are available in the foyer of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. For the students and all the people, we have food and drinks outside waiting for you. EPS, kindly open the aisle. His Excellency and the platform guests will depart for the foyer. Please open the aisle. Please open the aisle.